A good scare zone is tough to come by, especially nowadays. It's not very often that we get a scare zone that stands out, that makes you say, man, I need to take time to go through one of those. But French Street has produced some really, really underappreciated scare zones in its run at HHN Hollywood. So let's take a look at what some of the scare zones on French Street are. Like, 2007, 2008, this was the Black Death, and it was really meant to be like a medieval village that had the plague, obviously, the name Black Death. Also 2007, 2008, not the most clearest video available for us, but I am thankful that we were able to get most of the footage for this episode. In this episode, this scare zone, I remember it being pretty quiet. Like, as far as the music and stuff, and then it was a bunch of Grim Reaper looking guys. They had some plague doctors around. There you go, right there. And that was really it. Again, this is early HHN, so this is all, pretty much anything that they're doing 2007, 2008, people are going to think is pretty cool. And there was nothing wrong with this scare zone. If anything, it's better than what a lot of them do here. 2009 to 2011, so 3 years, we had Freakz with a Z. And if HHN loves anything, they love putting the Z for the plural version of a name. And it was really kind of set up like a gypsy type freak show, gypsy camp area that had been kind of side smacked, but more just kind of set up. And then you had a bunch of creepy characters, like old school freaks, roaming around. One thing you definitely probably got the vibe in the first video, and you're seeing it to full effect right here, is that these the French Street scare zones really stayed together. The fog really stayed in the street and really made the lighting effects look really, really cool on French Street. So, 2009 to 2011, 3 years, the Freakz inhabited French Street. And I remember just like that. And in 2012, Witches came out. And this is you see the Z at the end again. But this is a scare zone I don't remember very well. I do, that's obviously from Freakz, that prop right there. So I think I remember walking through here after it being something new. and you can tell right now it's pretty low energy. I do remember this actually, because they had witches of all kinds of phases. Like if witches could transform, they had some witches that were like super like evil queen looking, and then they had some that were like that one that freaked out in the middle that was like ugly hag. I do remember this scare zone. Okay. And I remember it being like the first one after Freakz, and thinking, okay, and then we go into 2013, so only 1 year for witches. 2013, we're at Cirque du Clowns. And I mean, it's pretty substantially, still kind of freak showish. But at the same time, you can have, and then you go into 2013 and it's called Masquerade. And I think that this year was a year that they allowed us to vote for like 3 different choices. And Masquerade won out of the 3 choices. But it was going to be one of those things that was definitely a more of a generic type of a thing than anything. I think it was a scare zone whose set design would probably be pretty similar no matter which vote would have won. And a lot of like colonial looking ghoul, zombie, masquerade people, blood soaked in your face. Like, it's kind of like, again, where the Freakz were there for 3 years, and now it's been a while since the Freakz have been there. Now you're kind of in this like, when are we gonna have a good scare zone? Like, this was the scare zone area that was really kind of like underappreciated compared to the other scare zones. And I think a lot of reason for that is none of them were very elaborately themed. Like this one, Corpz, again, check out that Z at the end of the name. The street is also very small compared to a lot of the other zones. But this one, again, a testament to how foggy it is in there. But it was like an idea that HHN Florida had done a while back, which took like a war, like World War I, and a zombie outbreak happens during World War I. So you have like soldiers on both sides, essentially, that are fighting each other. And I cannot remember, because that guy sure looks like he is a like ghoul, but he looks like he is Civil War almost with the hat that he had on. The way that it was sitting on top of his head like that. So I don't remember like if they had soldiers, zombies, or ghouls or whatever from all phases of war, or if it was a war in particular. That I don't remember. 2018 Monster Masquerade, man. This was a good scare zone. This coming after, I believe, the Universal Monsters Maze. And this was really, really good. Like, they had these stages set up. Again, it's a masquerade. But it just felt different, man. It felt... You know, there was Quasimodo. You may not have been able to tell, but he was, like, pop-locking and stuff. The music, you know, fit so well with the scare zone. You came out of that, you know, after doing the Universal Maze, the Monsters Maze, and you had that scare zone, and then you flowed back into the park here. It was really a dope way to go. And then here, Christmas in Hell. In 2019, this was the same kind of, you know, deal. This was outside of the Holidays in Hell maze, and the maze ended with Christmas, which was kind of a small part of the maze. But then you came out into this, and like. There was an original scare zone before this. That was a Christmas time scare zone, which led to, you know, Krampus finally being a maze, and, you know, led to the Holidays in Hell discussion to have its, you know, the Metro set, which we'll cover next week, but it's title maze, like. But this scare zone in itself was pretty fantastic, man. And look at that Krampus on the stilts. There's like a... And in 2021, we have the Silver Scream Queenz again with a Z. So there's some of the vampires from Bride of Dracula. This was, on paper, a interesting concept. But last year, I think, is one of those reasons why I'm most excited for this year. Is I think that this year is really the true comeback year for HHN, at least HHN LA. Where last year was kind of like their kind of comeback-y half. Not even half as good. It was better than half as good, but it wasn't what it fully was before the pandemic. And I think this year is going to be one of the best years they've ever had. So I think you're going to notice for sure a difference. There's the Mummy. And another vampire. And that was really what this scare zone was, man. It was just kind of them doing their thing, off and on. It was cool. This right here, seeing the bride just walk around like a true badass with the monsters and with the giant Frankenstein. Like, she was dope. I will say that about this zone. But overall, man, the winner of this zone, or the winner of this, street, I have to say, goes to Christmas in Hell. I just think that Christmas in Hell was by far the best scare zone. And yeah, next week we'll see if it can keep it up as it takes on the Metro sets.